Call to order this meeting of the Osawatomie City Council, April 9th, 2026 at 6 p.m. here at City Auditorium. Madam Clerk, will you do a roll call?
Councilor Levee.
Here.
Councilor Basic.
Here.
Councilor Dean.
Here.
Councilor Dickinson.
Here.
Councilor Hennett.
Here.
Councilor Bratton. Absent. Councilor Philbin. Here. Councilor Caldwell.
Here.
Mayor Ham.
Here. If you will stand for pledge of allegiance and remain standing for invocation. Council Lady Caldwell, lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, Father, Creator of heaven and earth, we praise and glorify your holy name, thanking you for a beautiful and wondrous day that you've given us. Father, we come before your throne, asking, Lord, in the name of Jesus, for your counsel to be given tonight to all these men and women that have gathered in your name, that, Father, you will take hold of these leaders' hearts, minds, and bodies and souls in the name of Jesus. You will take hold of the citizens' hearts, minds, and bodies and souls, Father, in the name of Jesus. And, Father, all things will be done for your glory and your glory alone, but that your will be done, Father, your business be conducted, and that all things will be proclaimed in your name, and you'll be glorified in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. We'll move on to consent agenda. Consent agenda item be acted upon in one motion unless a council member requests an item be removed for separate discussion and action. Mayor, I'll move to approve the consent agenda. Second. Got a motion by Councilman Dickinson, a second by Councilman Chastain to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any other questions or comments from council? Madam Clerk?
Councilor Chastain.
Aye.
Councilor Basic.
Aye.
Councilor Dean. Councilor Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilor Hennett.
Aye.
Councilor Philbin.
Aye.
Councilor Caldwell.
Motion carries. We will move on to comments from the public. We'll start with Pastor Smith. And I will say that at 7 o'clock, we will move on to the regular meeting if we still have comments going at that point.
Well, thank you all. Appreciate everything you're doing. I can report that the egg hunt we had was a great success over this last weekend. A lot of families out there. I want to say that Cross Point Church cooked like almost 500 hot dogs. I think there's 50 left. So they did, if they went away hungry, it was their own fault. And there's some great things that are forthcoming. I don't know if they talked about it, but along with the Freedom Fest that's coming up in September, that Sunday, so it's on Freedom Fest is only every one day now. That following Sunday, we're going to look at doing a revival down in John Brown Park. So more details are forthcoming on that. So we're looking forward to that. And of course, we're looking forward to all things that are going on in the city and being a part of it. So thank you for the support. And we'll keep praying for you. God bless you all.
Thank you. Move on to any other comments from the public. Citizen participation be limited to 5 minutes. Please stand and be recognized if you have a public comment.
Well, Mark Winkles, have a comment about the data center. Just some facts I'd like the council to be aware of.
Mark, could you repeat your last name and give us your address, please?
Yeah, Winkles, Winkles, 130 West 341st Street.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. Good evening. Thank you for your time today. I'm here to ask you to take a closer, more critical look at the proposal to build a data center in our community, not just as an economic opportunity, but as a long-term commitment with real cost backed by real data. Let's start with energy demand. This is one of the biggest impacts. According to the U.S. Department of Energy report on data centers' energy demand growth, data centers already consume about 4.4% of all electricity in the United States. That's a lot of megawatts. And that number is projected to rise to as much as 12% by 2028. That's not a small increase. That's a massive shift in how our power grid is used. When a single facility demands that level of energy, it doesn't just plug in. It puts pressure on infrastructure, increases the risk of higher costs to local businesses and residents, and forces difficult decisions about who that power ultimately serves. So now let's talk about something else that gets overlooked sometimes, water. Research shows that a single large data center can use up to 5 million gallons of water per day. I know the proposal here is less than that, but they did just say large. The equivalent of a town of tens of thousands of people per the Environmental and Energy Study Institute. Their study on data centers and water consumption. Nationwide, U.S. data centers consume billions of gallons annually. And one estimate found 17 billion gallons of water used in just 1 year. And that's per the Harvard Science Review, the hidden water cost of data centers. So I'm not just pulling these numbers out of there. So the real question is, are we prepared to commit that level of water usage from our local supply on a percentage basis? And then there's also other environmental impacts beyond just resources. This is actually the one that brought me to you all tonight. Recent research, including a 2026 Cambridge-led analysis of over 6,000 global data centers, show that these facilities can create localized heat island effects. The local surface temperatures can rise by an average of 3.6 degrees to 16.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Warming effects can extend up to 6.2 miles from the data center. That affects not just the environment, but the quality of life for nearby residents and increased electricity costs. Now, let's hear the argument or address the argument we hear about jobs and economic growth. Yes, construction creates temporary jobs, but long-term employment is limited. Meanwhile, communities often provide tax incentives and infrastructure support that may not be matched by lasting economic returns. In fact, rapid expansion has raised enough concern that some planned data center projects across the U.S. are now being delayed or canceled due to community pushback and resource concerns, according to various news articles. And public sentiment reflects this. A recent Harvard-MIT survey, Public Attitudes Towards Data Centers and AI Infrastructure, found that concerns of community impact, not just electricity costs, are the primary reason people oppose data centers in their area. This should matter to all of us. This decision is bigger than one project. It's about whether we prioritize short-term investment over long-term sustainability. It's about whether we commit our water, our energy, and our land to a use that delivers limited local benefits. And it's about whether we are willing to carry the long-term consequences if those trade-offs don't pay off. Growth is important, but smart growth is critical. Before approving this project, I urge you to ask, are we using our resources responsibly? Are we getting real lasting value in return? And are we protecting the people who already live here? If the answer to those questions,
That was your 5 minutes.
okay, I have half a sentence left.
Okay, I was trying to, maybe he's gonna stop there.
Oh, okay.
If you got half a sentence left, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. If the answer to those questions isn't clear, then the decision should be just as clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
You mind giving me a warning in 15 seconds left, sir? Thank you.
Name and address.
Chris Bowles, Bowles, address 30750 Osawatomie Road. All right. Here for the same reason. In Granbury, Texas, a Bitcoin mining facility sits 100 yards from a mobile home park. Currently running 60,000 computers Around the clock, residents have reported vertigo, migraines, and fluid coming out of their ears. In Mortonton, Virginia, over 500 people attended their town council meeting. It's actually much bigger than this, but to oppose only a 42-acre Amazon data center. And then they voted out every council member that said yes. Festus, Missouri, the same thing happened today. Every councilman that voted yes got kicked out. Oklahoma, they're actually trying to not wait for the elections. They're doing recalls. This is not about who bears the cost of this, whether it's your seat, whether it's our utility bills. This is about the corporations that profit from it. These are the largest, most successful corporations in the world. This is nothing more than that. It is not a national security issue. As far as taxes go, state of Texas is losing over $1 billion in tax revenue because of their abatements. Virginia is losing $732 million because of theirs. Michigan, I remember the name of the company. It's the big one out in Las Vegas. They went to go put a data center in there. They promised 1,000 jobs. How many do you think they get? 26 on $1 billion project. That was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Joliet, Illinois, an aquifer is projected to run out due to 2030 because of industrial data centers and industrial business water depletion. And there are two reservoirs in Corpus Christi, Texas, right now today, sitting below 10% capacity. A water emergency is projected to be declared next month, and they don't have any data centers. They're going through a 9-year drought. So, with all of this in front of you, the subsidies lost in Texas, Virginia. There's Virginia residents in Northern Virginia have seen a 267% increase in their electric bills. 267%. I can't afford that. I don't know if any of these other good people can. Between that, the depleted reservoirs in Illinois, Texas, the money lost in Texas, Virginia, and the dozens of manufacturing towns that are still recovering after their decades of anchoring an employer or a major business in their community. Every town in West Virginia with the coal mines. Once the steam-powered locomotives came out, those companies were screwed, and so were the towns. And then you have, again, the recalls and the council member votes. This is happening in Virginia, Missouri, California, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Illinois, and Indiana. Now, with all of this in front of you, all of this information, what I want to know is what specific knowledge does this city council have that makes it believe that none of those things will happen here?
Really, the question answered, Chris, this is your 5 minutes.
Okay.
So we don't have all the information about this data center. We don't have the power. We don't have any of this. This is the preliminary development agreement. And all that stuff being worked.
One more sentence.
Yep.
You cannot improve a community's quality of life by eliminating what made it worth living in. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Public comment?
Ian Day, I live at 36397 West 367th Street. I've been looking through what you provided the community to see. It's a bit vague. It's being underplayed. This is a hyperscale data center. It says 600,000 square feet, but if you look at this from the proposed, at 1 story, it'll be 766,000 square feet. 2 stories, 1,533,000 square feet. And at 3 stories is 2,229,000 square feet. According to the floor area ratios, all three of these are feasible with this size of land. I went to Alco's website, see what they're about. The first line of their motto is Alcove is committed to responsible and ethical development. I can't think of anything more irresponsible and unethical than building a hyperscale data center literally across the street from an active psychiatric hospital. Leave it to Osawatomie to be the first in the world to propose such an idea. You will be setting the bar as low as it can go when it comes to ethics in this data center debate playing out all over this country. I thank you for your time.
Welcome.
J.R. Baylog, 34115 High Drive. I'm not as well prepared as these fellows that here, but I just want to state that I don't know where you guys got all your, I know most of the people that I know don't want nothing to do with that data center up in our area. If you want it in your backyard, you can put it in your backyard, because for one, it takes away from all the wildlife that's ever in there at that area, and all the damage that it's going to do to everything else that you people say. Everybody, not saying you people, but everybody says, oh, it's going to bring all this $10 million into our town in 10 years. Well, you're giving it a tax break for 10 years, right? And then after that 10 years, last time I looked up, all the data centers after 10 to 15 years, they need revamped. So they're going to take more money, and they're not going to really be paying you, because at the 20 years is the 20 to 30 years is how much long the building's going to last. But you're not going to have all that, because you're not going to get your money, because that data center is going to be out of extinction, because by the time it comes up, your 10 years is going to be gone. And then they're going to say, oh yeah, the 10 years is what's going to happen, because, oh yeah, that's when you're going to start getting your town and your city money back into you. Well, no, because it's going to be gone, because you're out of data. They're going to have to build a new one. But if there's a vote, I guarantee you I can get a lot of people to vote against it. I don't know how you guys are going to vote on it, or you already did and you're not saying anything, but nobody in that area wants it in that area. And if you want it, you can put it in your backyard and see how that works, because nobody wants it that I know of. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stacy Stevens, and this is my mom, Linda Stevens. We live at 32996 Osawatomie Road, which is about a mile from the proposed data center. My family has resided here for 44 years, my entire life. I moved back home after my dad passed to help my mom keep up with things, and we enjoy our quiet country life, being able to look at the stars. Like others here, we have many of the same concerns about this data center going in. First, I would like to mention the light and the noise pollution. It will be disruptive to the people living near it and to the wildlife. The constant hum can be heard for miles. As others said, think about how that will affect the patients at the state hospital. These centers consume large amounts of water, 1 million or more gallons a day, and thousands of these centers are set to go in across the U.S. Think about how that will add up very quickly. Aquifers run low, wells run dry, streams run dry. There are many examples of this already happening across the U.S., and the World Health Organization has declared an era of water bankruptcy. Clean water is finite. The strain on the power grid leads to higher utility bills for all the residents. They are given huge tax breaks for 20 years. The equipment will be obsolete before then. They do not bring in jobs like this community needs, Construction jobs are often outsourced. They require fewer employees once they're built. And about half of all the planned data centers are already facing cancellations and delays. Please consider joining them, at least until more studies can be done and technology can improve. There is already work being done to create smaller and quieter systems. Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment?
We're gonna have an answer for any of this, is what I'm just asking.
It's not on the agenda tonight. so-
No, I don't mean tonight, but I mean, like.
Eventually, I'm sure we'll have some town hall or something. Once we get information as to what is being proposed. They still got to meet with power companies.
Right.
We have no answers right now as to the size, the type of cooling, to any of that. That will be proposed.
Thank you.
Ms. Sampson and, Councilman, my name is Ian Reeves. This is my business partner, Phil Davis. We recently purchased the house on 715 Pacific Avenue here in Osawatomie. And, we bought it with the intention to renovate it. And, we closed on it a couple weeks ago. We bought it, got our contractor, walked through it, got a bid. We actually started doing a little bit of cleanup. And then, Caleb called into the city here to, get the permits pulled. And we found out that it was actually on the list to be demolished. We were not made aware of that by the previous seller. And so we're kind of in a little bit of a sticky situation with the house here. And we handed out a packet there because I wanted to show you, our plans for the project. The second page there is a much larger project that we did recently. So we've done a lot of, fire damage houses all the way down to studs kind of projects. And we also understand the city's position on this. Obviously setting a precedent, going back on things they've already voted on. We understand, that's a tricky thing to do, and we understand the situation, but this isn't a situation where we've been sitting on the property for a long time. We just bought it. We were literally ready to turn the key and go on it. And we'd like to go ahead with that plan if you would allow us, and we're asking for if you could give us an extension, maybe give us a month or something, and be willing to come look at the property, make sure you're satisfied with it. I would really like the opportunity to try and work with you to get it done. And that's the situation there. Any questions for us?
So you're saying that the seller did not disclose to you that it had been mental condemnation. I mean, you said 2 weeks ago.
It was the 20th, I think, something like that. Yeah.
We already condemned it at that point. When last meeting, it was on before that, right?
It was the last, it was the,
2 meetings ago, so that was almost a month ago that it was
Yeah.
already condemned.
I mean, we bought it through a title company with title insurance, had no idea. Unfortunately, there was nothing recorded.
I mean, I spoke with the owner of the property at the time when it was sold, and I told him he needed to disclose the fact that it was going through a condemnation process. My understanding is he sold it to a real estate company, Sunflower, I think is the name of it. They were the wholesaler. So another individual in our community was contacted by that seller. That individual relayed to Sunflower that it was on the condemnation list. Yes. Yes. I am positive of that. I could get it in writing. Yeah. So before they sold it, they were made aware that it was on the condemnation list. I don't know who the individual was at Sunflower, but I know there was another house flipper in our community that was contacted by them. Mhm.
We've done much larger projects. That house really isn't in that bad a condition from our perspective. But we just closed on it. We literally had a bid and ready to start. I don't know if there's, any way to reconsider, but really good way to do when you're making it pretty again.
At this point, I'm not sure.
The concern I have is that we would be setting a precedent of, you know, condemning a property and then saying, never mind. So Ian, you know,
Realize it was the same breath that I used to work with.
so full disclosure, Ian and I used to work with each other at Kiewit. And I didn't realize it was the same Ian I was talking to until he walked in tonight. But unfortunately, it's ultimately the council's decision because they're the ones that passed the condemnation resolution. But going back on a condemnation, once we've already condemned it, sets a really bad precedent, especially in the ones that we just condemned along with this house.
Can I ask you, for the ones that you did? The way that I'm looking at this is, I'm sure the previous condemnations were owners who were, you know, saying they're gonna get things done and not getting things done, right? We're the new owners, we just bought it, so it has actually transacted and changed hands. That would be my argument.
Hasn't this happened before? For some reason, I feel like it's happened before that somebody told one or.
Was it the one on Chestnut, for the guy? I thought it was one on Chestnut.
I thought it was the one on Pacific, so I'm just saying like the leaning one. Cause them guys had put in this thing before you were back.
Then I do not
Some
recall
company
that.
Come in and put a roof on it already and kind of did all that, but it was condemned and getting one off the condemnation list.
I would say that, give me a call tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I will try to get you in contact with the individual who could help you with your issue with Sunflower.
Because to me, if the seller did not disclose that just bought it a couple weeks ago, that's.
I understand. It's just, you know, being in the wrong versus actually going to trial and, you know, getting it actually collected are two very different stories. I experience.
I get it.
If you could rehab it and get it done and be done, or,
How long,
Worked on any houses in Osawatomie before?
yes.
Oh.
5 or 6. That, they were all discount benefit.
Right.
But I've done hundreds of houses.
Right.
We've done fire damage, we've done houses. Honestly, this is on a scale of 1 to 10, this is probably a 7 for us. So,
Because there had been fire in there, right?
As recently as January, it was electrical.
framing's all good, the framing's all-
Issues.
Again, anything can be fixed for time and money, right?
Yeah. That house in the second page there is far worse than this one.
You know, it's a structure that they're willing to, take on and rebuild. It would be one less structure that we wouldn't have to condemn. So, we didn't fully have all the information either. We did not know that it was being sold.
I did communicate that at the meeting, that Sean had communicated to me that he was trying to sell it, and I had communicated to Sean that he needed to disclose to the buyer that the house was on the condemnation
Okay.
list.
I just think it's a waste to condemn a house and tear it down if there's a possibility that it can be refurbished.
8 weeks, we had that.
8 weeks?
I'm not opposed to revisiting that.
What I'm hearing out of you two is it's ground. Out of
I mean, you can undo the resolution. You can adopt a resolution repealing the resolution, but then just get ready. There will be others that come back and say, well, I want mine repealed because I want an opportunity. We just had the same issue with another house in this condemnation round that wanted to save it. He knew it was on the condemnation list, however. And he sat on that house for the better part of 6 months, tried to work on it without getting permits. And then only after we condemned it did he decide he wanted to start working on it. Well, at that point, it was too late. So,
We were 2 weeks in, and I'd already tried to get permits, already had a bid, already had somebody starting. That was a little bit different situation.
I mean, I'm not opposed to revisiting it, but can we bring it up? Can we get something together and bring it up for the next council meeting?
if you want it on the agenda.
Yeah.
As an agenda item.
Yes.
Guys off another.
Yeah, but it's. Anything's gonna get tore down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has Daniel been inside of it?
Yes.
I mean, we're happy to walk through it with them and show their plans and what we can do.
Doing that's something we can, if we want to revisit, go through it again and maybe.
Seems like last time we had the other situation.
They put up a letter of credit, but that was at the condemnation hearing when it was on the, yes. Yes, that was at the condemnation hearing where they asked for an opportunity to continue working on the house or fix the house, and we gave them 3 months or 2 months, whatever the time frame was, required them to put up an irrevocable letter of credit in the amount of 10 grand or whatever the cost would be to demo. Yeah, if the work was not performed.
Because if you pause it, you start that whole process.
Correct. I believe that's correct. That's how.
We gave them longer, they had to complete that within that time frame. We gave them longer than it would have taken for the tractor to get there is the problem. That's why you put the line of credit up, because he would have had to come back, and that's obviously more money if he's in town tearing down 5 or 6. About one. So, yes, that one was all taxes had to be current, all permits had to be pulled, work had to be completed, occupancy had to be in that certain time. So, yes, it was about 3 meetings ago, the process. But had to be
Resolution.
Obviously, that's the reason. Resolution, pass condemnation. Resolution of all.
No, I was thinking that earlier.
No.
Each one.
Yes.
I will tell you, this will make it much more difficult to condemn structures that need to come down going forward.
You'll have to sell them to yourself.
Yes.
Which is what happened on another property that you're not following out.
Yep.
Just get passing ownership back and forth. That's what we probably ought to take some legal action. When are they being bid? Have they already been bid?
It went out Monday. They're due the 26th. They're due at the end of this month. Correct. We'll bring a resolution to the council to award.
Good night. Legal counsel on. Do the information that you can get us over the next.
I'll get with Jeff. I I'm confident he will tell you that legally you are well within your right to move forward with the condemnation. But then if you're wanting to undo it, then that's a whole different conversation. Correct.
Stay in contact with Brett, I would say.
Yep.
For your decision, one way or
Let's consider it. Thank you.
another.
See you. Yeah. Take care.
Any other comments from the public? On then to the public hearings, if we have none, presentation, proclamation, if we have none, so unfinished business, so this business. Resolution 1372 authorizing change order for Memorial Hall.
As you're all aware, Memorial Hall is well into its restoration work for the restrooms, the entryway on the west side of the building, as well as the kitchen. The committee, once we got into it and completed the demolition work and then started the restoration work for the original scope, it became pretty apparent that we wanted to that we would. I'll just wait till everybody leaves. Anyway, so it became clear with the as we were rebuilding the space that had just recently been demoed that we would be sorely disappointed if we did not move forward with completing out the rest of the space. So I went back to the contractor, asked them to price up what it would take to redo the flooring, redo the ceiling, which will encompass removing all of the suspended ceiling, the old ugly fluorescent lights. Above the suspended ceiling is black painted beadboard. That'll all come down. New beadboard will go up. That will be stained. There'll be fresh coat of paint on the interior walls. Doug Walker is making all of the new wainscoting out of walnut. It's going to be it's absolutely gorgeous. He's making all of the cabinets. What else? We've got new lights that we picked. Identified 16 fixtures are needed. New flooring. The only part in the space that won't be touched is basically the stage and to the back. We won't touch HVAC systems and we won't touch the stage, but the HVAC system housing and the stage itself, that'll all be painted to match the new area that's restored. So I looked through the budget. I looked at how we forecasted ending 2025 and where we actually ended up. Our fund balance in the general fund has improved considerably. I am comfortable with using some of that fund balance to pay for the remainder of the work on the inside. And then we can start talking about what the next phases look like to do, what the committee would like to do on the outside. And with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
This would complete the inside of the Memorial Hall with the exception of behind the curtain banks, behind the stage.
Yes. And the HVAC systems. Yeah.
Now that will still get painted,
Yes.
probably the stage.
Yes.
Is behind the curtain outside, when you're done, roof soft.
Roof soffit, the proscenium arch has been restored. One of the things Mr. Walker would like to do is, by Mr. Walker, I mean Doug, not Josh, the contractor. is build a retaining wall on the south side, a large retaining wall. It would require engineering to build it, but then build that up and then build a big pad, reception pad on the front, moving the main entrance, the primary entrance from the west side of the building to the south side of the building.
That's happening.
Yeah, we're getting the doors to allow for that, but yes, so then we will have to pour some additional concrete outside to build a long ramp to go up to that west door to improve accessibility for that, because as you know, it's nowhere near ADA compliant. We can fix it and we can make it easy for people with, in wheelchairs and whatnot to get into the facility. So.
That retaining wall side, next phase. See what it would take to do that.
Okay. There is no sound system planned because we're removing the suspended ceiling and we're taking it all the way up to that beadboard. I hadn't planned on it because we've got the owl now, and that was the solution to provide the recordings for the council meetings. I can get you, we have a microphone and a speaker in the.
We have microphone.
We can look
See,
in.
once it gets put. Hardwiring into that, it's no longer. Drop ceiling.
Well, we have talked in the past, of having microphones, so it'd be easier for our, residents to be able to hear us when they come.
We can look into a portable option because I know I tend to talk louder and project, but I know not everybody speaks that way.
I don't,
Right.
this is about all I project.
Yes, this is known.
What's the timeline? They looking at it in a month in, is that what?
May.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll be done in May,
Yes,
end of May, probably.
correct.
It would be nice to have that inside done. We've been talking about it for many, many years. I agree with the comment that I don't want it to look like we halfway did it, I believe the bathrooms and the kitchen and that front end are gonna look really nice, and then to see the rest of it not get touched.
Mhm.
Put lipstick on the cake.
Yeah. So,
Or Ms. Marai, move that we approve resolution 13.2, authorizing the change order from Moral Body.
Just second that.
got a motion by Council Lady Philpin, a second by Council Lady Caldwell to approve resolution 1372, authorizing change order from Memorial Hall to complete renovations of the inside. Any other question or comment from council? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Sheffield?
Aye.
Tremaine?
Aye.
Councilor Dean?
Aye.
Councilor Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilor Henness?
Aye.
Councilor Felton?
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell?
Motion carries. Ma'am, did you have a comment?
I have a comment.
Because we had already moved past that. I'd asked again.
General.
Okay, we'll do it this time.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Okay, name and address?
My name
Yes.
is Christy Williamson. I came to listen to you all tonight. Listen to people talking. And I can't hear a word anybody has said. I've got my hearing aid in. I've got it turned as high as it'll go. And I can't hear anything anybody said. I thought you would have a microphone at least to discuss things with. Now I can listen to city council after it's over and when it's on the internet and I can listen in. but I can't comment tonight on anything that's happened here. I can't hear it. And I don't think I'm the only one in this city who has a slight hearing problem. That's all I'm gonna say for now. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Move on to council report, start to my left, Mr. Chastain.
I'm comment. Been listening to, some of the latest that I've documented, thinking about wait out value of a business opportunity is coming to. With the increase in ability to remote work, I think we definitely need to look at how we rate the value of the higher employees, whether that employee doesn't have to live here, but if they're located here, located here, that's more valuable to us as a community than someone in California doing work on a basis. I don't know if the other policies address that at all.
Our economic development policies.
It's really about
Yeah, that's really kind of a new phenomenon. I mean, there's always been opportunities. Certain jobs would allow you to work from home, but massive amounts of companies allowing their employees to work from home really happened in 2020 and then they realized that they could trust their employees to go be productive at home and actually do their jobs. And a lot of it has stayed that way.
because you hire them that you got here.
I mean, we always want to see businesses, we want to see jobs in our community, but to your point on remote work, not every job lends itself to remote work. So we need to have a mix of both, and that's why we're spending so much time, trying to get our housing stock improved. We got a lot of houses that have been built in the last 5 years because of COVID. We've seen a lot of people moving out of Johnson County and moving into Miami County, and including Osawatomie. That's what caused our valuations to go. A large part of the reason why our valuations went from, total assessed valuation in the community in 2020, 2021 was 24 million. It's now 42. That's migration out of the Johnson Wyandotte County area coming out here into Miami County and further south because they can work from home.
Saying remote jobs would have allowed us to sell out.
Yeah. So yeah, it's important to see jobs in economic development opportunities, but it's not probably as strong as it once was because some of these jobs do lend themselves to working remotely. Obviously, not everything is that way, as many of us in this table have worked jobs that don't allow you to work from home. So but yeah, I mean it's a consideration, but I don't know that it's as heavy as it once was.
No report.
No report for me.
Well, and I have something to report.
So,
We opened bids on Wednesday on the mill and overlay of Pacific and Brown, and I'm happy to report that the bids came in low enough that I am very comfortable that we will be able to award both streets for this summer. Pacific, obviously, due to the Transportation Alternatives Grant becoming a bike boulevard, that would be first, and then Brown Avenue would be the second street. This summer to get a mill and overlay. Engineer is currently evaluating the bids. We had Kilo was second low. They were right behind the low bidder, Phillips. But there's some question, as to whether or not they've done much street work. They've done a lot of parking lots. So we've requested some references from municipalities that would indicate what they've done for streets. So, so we're making sure we're comparing apples to apples.
Because last time I think we ran into that because they were trying to use a different asphalt.
They were using their traditional parking lot asphalt, which was okay in the library parking lot because it's a parking lot, and then it's not receiving the types of traffic that, the streets do, but they did get a block of the wrong asphalt put down on 12th Street. And we turned several trucks around hauling several tons of asphalt, back to the city. So,
This is not that same company.
this is not that same company, but they also do parking lots. So I think it's a legitimate concern of ours. So we hopefully will have a recommendation from the engineer next week, and then there'll be an agenda item to award that contract at the April 23rd meeting. Memorial Hall, as we just discussed, will be done by the end of May. KDOT will be bidding the Transportation Alternatives Grant in June. And then either in June or July, we will be bidding the water distribution portion of our water treatment and distribution project. The state has gone through the water distribution plans. They've signed off on them. So we're ready to bid. Water treatment plant, the design process, there's a pretty detailed schedule I put in there. We just got a schedule update from the contractor, Bowen. We just got a schedule update from them last week. So the main points of that schedule are in your city manager report in your packet. And then lastly, I got some preliminary appraised numbers from our appraiser. Everything that the county appraises, it looks like overall Miami County is not going up nearly as much as it has in years past. Osawatomie specifically, and this number includes new construction, percent increase in valuation is 1.93. If you take out the new construction, the percent increase is 0.79%. New construction in Osawatomie totaled $3.7 million. So continue to build new houses. We'll continue to experience that valuation growth, but hopefully not quite as much and quite as heavily on existing homes. So that is all I have. That would have been disastrous. There's a lot of unknowns as to what it would have done to communities and their ability to issue debt, because you've now allowed a protest process into the budget procedures. To allow 10% of the public, if they don't agree with your budget, if they believe your budget's too high, they could protest it and force you to stay at a certain level. That makes investors nervous about, the security of a general obligation bond. Rating agencies get nervous. It wouldn't have been good. I think overall we would have been fine to, stay, fairly close to revenue neutral, but we've not been able to stay revenue neutral since R&R was a thing. But a lot of that's because we just don't have the growth and valuation in new construction that a lot of other communities see, especially up north. Yep. No other staff here to give reports.
Sparks, you got anything?
Oh, yeah.
We hired a new guy to start FTO this week. Jason, fully staffed.
Great, good.
Awesome.
Got a motion by Councilman Dickinson, a second by Councilman Shasteen for adjournment. All in favor, aye.
Aye.